Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. With the Season 2 Reloaded update, we got one specific change to the ammo upgrades here for Vanguard weapons in the form of a pretty significant nerf to hollow point, which previously was sort of that go-to ammo upgrade for a lot of the close range weapons. And today, I wanted to break down the change that has on that attachment category for the Vanguard SMGs and what you want to be looking for in weapons now moving forward, because this is actually a pretty interesting conversation. You do have to make some drastic changes to some of your loadouts. So as we break it all down, if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. It really does help the channel grow. And if you're new here or if you have not subscribed yet, every day I got you covered with all things going on in COD. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. So as we can see, these are the Season 2 Reloaded patch notes, and underneath the ammunition options, we have hollow point damage range now decreased by 20%, so a fifth. Basically, the range that you were getting before is now no longer there, which honestly is a pretty big disadvantage now. Before, yeah, hollow point didn't really affect your range all that much, and it made so that TTKs were actually a lot more impressive in close range fights. But when you drop that off, you're looking at, under 10 meters, whereas before it was close to 12, 13 meters. Those are drop-offs that do make weapons a lot less beneficial and advantageous in those gunfights. The note, they say, hollow point has been heavily leaned on by SMGs, and with good reason. Its previous damage range penalty would rarely affect the most common engagement distances. Exactly what I just said. This adjustment to the ammunition results in a powerful tool. You'll just have to get a little closer. Our ongoing goal with ammo is to provide options and move away from a singular choice that's good for any occasion, which I do think they have done, as this conversation we're going to have today sort of proves. So when we go in game here, if we were to go into the ammunition category, these are the main options we have for Vanguard subs. Now keep in mind, Vanguard subs is the only area we're really focusing on here, but Vanguard subs are also the best close range options in the game right now. But we got FMJ, Lengthened, Subsonic, Incendiary, Hollow Point, Frangible. Frangible, for what it's worth, is not available on every Vanguard sub, but the Armaguera here, this is one where we actually get to see all of these. Now, previously, as we all know, Incendiary was that go-to. They nerfed that, everyone sort of switched over to Hollow Point. They now have nerfed that. So what is next in this ammunition meta? Well, it's honestly to a point now where nothing here is incredible, which, as they said in the patch notes, that's what they want to move towards, is not having one singular option. Instead, now we just have a bunch of very mediocre options, and I want to talk about what ones are really advantageous to any point, and then the others that are pretty much obsolete, like, for instance, FMJ. This was not good on Modern Warfare weapons. I'm not fully sure if it was even on Cold War weapons that I can remember off the top of my head. It's not good here. Like, FMJ is just a waste of a perk or an ammunition upgrade in this case. It's just not worth it. That's never been an option, so that's obsolete. We don't need to focus on that. Lengthened is good on a lot of guns, and we obviously use this for a lot of ranged guns, but when you have SMGs, where are you primarily using those? 0 to 35 meters max, 40 meters max, and in those gunfights, bullet velocity is not the most incredibly important factor. It is a factor, but there are much more important things there. Sprint to fire, obviously control, ADS movement speed, general mobility. Bullet velocity is not a top priority there. So while Lengthen is a good choice, it's not giving you some extreme advantage in close range fights, just because that's not where it's a targeted priority. Subsonic here actually hurts your bullet velocity, which, again, as we just said, is not the most important factor. There's an asterisk here though, and obviously this is keeping you off of the minimap, so it acts as a replacement suppressor. In this case, we can use a recoil booster and then throw on Subsonic and still stay off the radar, and to a lot of players that is very important. That's the whole reason we have muzzle metas with the agency suppressor monolithic, because players don't want to show up on the radar. That's something we've had to sacrifice with Vanguard guns up until this point, because recoil booster is just too good to pass up. But I don't think Subsonic is necessarily a bad choice here. Like I said though, there's an asterisk, and we're going to come back to that. Real quickly, as I said, Incendiary was great. They nerfed it. It's now not worth it, especially when it hurts your damage and your velocity. Hollow point now with that range reduction, I don't think is worth it, because your gun's only good in 10 meters, and that's just like not enough of an area where this is going to be worth it over something else. And Frangible, it's cool, but I just don't really think it's all that great either, because most gunfights are not going to be determined by your enemy being a little bit slower than you when they're trying to run around a corner or something like that. So I just don't feel like this is getting that much use either. To me, it comes down between Lengthened and Subsonic, and it's curious because one increases bullet velocity, the other hurts it. And the asterisk with Subsonic here is that in Warzone, I don't think it's any secret that hit reg is not great. The connection and the servers are not great. And so when you're shooting at times, it does feel like, man, I could have sworn I shot this guy 6 times, but it seemed like only 3 actually hit him. And when you're hurting velocity, it's gonna make it in certain cases feel like hit reg is not that great, especially with the Vanguard subs, which don't have insane velocity. So real quick, I want to look at all the Vanguard subs. We are on SimGG. They actually data mine all the information. So this is like exact stats for all the guns. And we look at the Vanguard stats here, we can actually look at the muzzle velocities for all of these. The Armaguerra has a pretty dang good velocity. 710 for a sub is pretty impressive. So in this case, while it does have a good base velocity, using subsonic would hurt that a little bit. And I think if we go through and actually put that on there, it'll actually change that. It goes down to a 639. So that's a decent drop off there, a minus 71 millisecond with the velocity there. But 639, keep that number in mind as to what happens when you look at these other ones. The Tommy gun has a 710. Again, if we throw on subsonic, it goes down to 639. If we go through to the MP40, this one has a 690 base velocity, so 20 less. If we throw on subsonic, it goes down to 621. We can go over to the Owen gun. This one has a 700, throw on subsonic, down to 630. We go over to the PPSH, 676. This one's pretty low, honestly. Throw on subsonic, goes down to a 608, which is really not anything too crazy. Sten, it's got a 690. Nice. Throw on subsonic, 621. So you can see for the most part so far, we're around 700 with quite a few of them, with the exception of the PPSH, and then around 620 if you throw on subsonic onto there. After the Sten, we've got the Type 100, a 720 here, so pretty high. 648. This is obviously a very good one with velocity in general. But then the well gun is 616. You throw on subsonic, 554. And that's pretty not good for a velocity there. Basically makes it obsolete in medium range fights. So the point I want to make here is you do have to pay attention to what these velocities are like. Luckily, for the most part, a lot of these SMGs, with the exception of, I would say, the PPSH and the well gun, have decent velocities where if you wanted to use subsonic, it shouldn't hurt you that much. But on the PPSH and the well gun specifically, you do not want to use subsonic because those velocities are just simply not that great. Lengthen is going to be far more beneficial there. It'll bump it up to 670, which makes it a little bit more in line with the base of some of those other SMGs. So I think both lengthened and subsonic are the go-tos now for the ammo upgrade on SMGs. However, it is sort of SMG dependent on which one you're using. So keep that in mind moving forward. If you feel like your connection already is like not great, if you play on a high ping and you feel like hit reg is already kind of iffy, lengthen is probably your better choice. That's also a factor in this as well. So it is sort of an individualized preference now of what you think is going to affect your gameplay more. Having bad hit reg but staying off the radar maybe, or having decent hit reg and having it more dependent on the servers, having that decent velocity but showing up on the map if you're using something like a recoil booster. Their patch notes did what they wanted to do though. They made it so that now there is no clear choice in this ammo category. So I do like that. At the same time, I don't feel like this is that much of a beneficial category anymore, just because none of these, like I said, it's sort of the lesser of all evil situation. None of these really do anything all that substantial to your gun. So an interesting conversation I felt was worth having. I love the fact that they are actively going out of the way though to make categories like this as specific as they are. A lot more competitive with one another and make it so that there is not one clear standout choice like there is for most muzzles or for most rear grips with polymer or fabric or stocks with folding. So I do like that a lot. That being said though, that is going to wrap things up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here or if you have not already subscribed, every day I got you covered with everything going on in COD. So feel free to hit that sub button, turn on those post notifications. That way you can always stay up to date. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.